Hey, Wolfpack. How's it going? I can hear somebody's at the door. Oh, just the mailman. Another big batch of fabric is out the door. Some of it goes in the mail, some of it goes UPS, whatever's the cheapest. But anyways, I hear him out there grabbing all the packages. So if I have to run for a second, it's just because he's probably wondering what to do with all the boxes. How are you all? Nice to see you. So a couple of things. I'll give you the schedule for the week. And then I am really in the mood to make a tank top. I need something for the weekend. So I figure it's behind the scenes, right? You might as well just come and sew with me. So say hi, everyone. It's so nice to see you, Wolfpack. And we are live streaming on Facebook and YouTube, although YouTube's usually a little faster. So Twitter and Twitch, if you're on any of those. Although I can't see your comments if you're on Twitter. So other than that, you're all here, and it's so nice to see you. And as always, say hi to your friends here. We have the best community ever from all over the world. So thank you all that decided to participate in the fabric stash sale last week. We had a very, very successful show, and I have about maybe 24 more boxes to send out. So not too bad. We got everything cut and ready to go. So very exciting. All right. So I see you all are on YouTube. Is Facebook not working today? Oh, no. Wait, I just saw Charlotte's in from Facebook. How are you, Charlotte? Thanks for letting me know. Okay, so first, a couple things. Tomorrow, today's Wednesday, right? So tomorrow I have a live show at noon. I'm hosting on Brother, the At Your Side virtually. Tomorrow, Chris will be joining me. We're going to be talking about zippers. That's at noon. Then tomorrow at 4 is what I call the little cocktail party. And I'll put a link right here and bring it up in case you have not registered for this yet. I always do a free event with Dime every other month. And so it's time tomorrow at 4 p.m. So I just posted the link, and let me just show you a little bit about this if you have questions. Hey, Phyllis, I'm sorry you missed the sale too. You can still, Phyllis, go back and watch the sale. I sold out of a lot of things, but Fashion Sewing Club, you all have a discount still that you can use. The other original sale's over, but we're going to do another one. We have some more planned. Getting rid of the stash. All right, so let me just share this real quick with you. Right here it is. So the link I gave you, this will take you here to Fusion Fix virtual event tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern. And it does last an hour and a half. But the good news is, because it's a weekend, guess what? That means that we can watch the replay through Sunday, which is what I prefer, because a lot of times I'm watching and chatting with you guys and just checking everything out. And then I like to go back because they have such good sales, and then you can order. So you don't have to order. It's educational as well. Also, they offer a free design that you get. So if you go here, click on register. I just love these tops, though. Check this out. I mean, this just screams bling, but it looks like a lot of fun. So I have not seen this event yet. I haven't seen anything come out of it. It just looks like a lot of fun. It says we're going to learn the basics of how to successfully incorporate heat transfer vinyl into our projects. Well, I have a heat transfer press. A heat press, not a heat transfer press. And I don't use it enough. So this is going to be great. So I know I'm going to be able to use a scan and cut with this, I'm sure. Or at least I'll get some ideas to use the scan and cut. But anyways, a lot of tools, fun stuff. Well, that's a cute bag. And then this is the free design. So if you want an ice cream cone, not literally. You already registered. Awesome, Deborah. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. So we always joke that, if it's like 5 o'clock or close to 5 o'clock, not that you have to wait till 5 o'clock, but we call it the cocktail party because we're all having a glass of wine, enjoying like some great education from Dime. So thanks, Eileen, for putting these together. And it looks like Deborah Jones and Ashley Jones are going to be on there, which are both such talented women. This is going to be fun. So Fusion Fix tomorrow at 4. Don't miss it. Totally free. Totally free. Esther, I have not heard about Arnell. Anybody else heard anything? Because I would love to know as well. Oh, Trisha, you missed Fashion Sewing Club yesterday. I noticed I didn't see you in there. So everyone in Fashion Sewing Club, you can go back and watch the replay in there right now. We have been making the cutest tops. So it started with a knit, and now we're doing one out of a woven. So it's been about 4 lessons in a row. First designing the pattern, then sewing it out of a knit. Then we did a show and tell and Q&A, and then we did another lesson on turning it into a woven. So great to see you. Michaela, your package went out this morning too. I signed it myself. I know we're all thinking of our Nels, so hopefully she's doing okay. All right, so that's your event. Don't forget about that. That's tomorrow. And now let's go design a pattern. What do you think? I think that sounds like a great idea. So let me bring my extra camera up here. There we go. And it's a little dark, so I'm going to go over here and just change it a little bit. I'm not sure why it's so dark. Let's lighten this camera up a little bit. Nope, it's still dark. Let's see. There we go. A little bit better. Much better. All right, and I've got the serger up, so we're going to have to change that thread. I have been serging, embroidering, all of these fun things. Yesterday, the girls were here, and you probably met Annabelle and her mother last week during the live show. So Annabelle had these super cute shorts. Now, by the way, I'm wearing a pair of jeans that has more rips in them. And I'm just going to show you this because of what she decided to do to her shorts, which I thought was super cute. It's really hard to buy something in the stores that isn't like totally trashed and ripped. And I mean, I get it. It's trending, but I just bought these. Can you see them? If I don't trip? Yeah, I paid for these. Now, by the way, they're really comfortable and they're really cute, but I didn't have time to make as many pants as I wanted, obviously. So I bought these. I paid money, and they are shredded so bad. I cannot believe I spent money on this. But either way, she found this super cute pair of shorts, and it had rips everywhere, and she didn't want those rips. So we embroidered. We downloaded the flowers from the Art Spirit app. Have you seen? I actually saw the demo where you have the roses on the jeans. Well, she embroidered all these different rows of roses, and we embroidered it on tulle fabric. She'll wash away the stabilizer, and then she's pretty much has 4 embroidered designs that she can hand stitch because they were in weird spots, like right across, like near the rivet, which would be really hard to sew. So she's going to hand sew those onto the jeans. It's going to be super, super cute. And I thought, what a great idea. So if you buy a bunch of jeans or even a pair that's ripped to shreds, which I can't believe we're spending money on, but we are, there are some great ways to fix that. Make it look good. All right, so I have some yellow fabric. I've been wearing the other tank top that I have, and I'd mentioned the other day that I wish I would have put 2 layers of the yellow on the tank. And some of you said, well, how do you do that? Well, that's what we're going to do today. And I also want a top that's more, that's cut up here a little bit, like, let's see, like this high? Yeah, something like that. A little bit higher. That would be cute for a bathing suit cover up, or I could wear on the boat. So I've got my mic cords all over here in case you see wires sticking out all over. Oh, Susan, I just saw your message, by the way. So you spilled red wine and mustard. That's quite the combo, girl, on your white jeans. Yeah, you're going to need a lot of embroidery. Yeah. Phyllis, do they provide discounts on the jeans for missing ripped fabric? No, they should. That's kind of like going to the dentist. If you're missing a tooth or something, you should get a discount. That's what Wynn says, at least. But he got his tooth fixed, so no adventures this week. His teeth are back in order. In case you missed that, a couple weeks ago, he reached for a fishing rod. It fell out, hit him in the mouth, cut his lip open, and knocked his tooth in half. I know. It was called the adventure of the week. No adventures this week so far, though. No. Knock on wood. All right, so let's go to the table. I want to design this top, and we're going to sew it today as much as I can in our 1 hour. So you cannot see me at this point. I'm running over here to get this yellow fabric. So what I do when I'm cutting all of your guys' fabric, a lot of times there might be a flaw in the fabric. They always mark it, so I know it's coming. Or they might have pieced a couple pieces together. So let me just give you an example of that. Like this is the peach, or coral, I should say, which I was really worried there wasn't going to be enough left for me. You guys really bought a lot of this. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have to have enough because I want to make this. But this is an example of how they piece the fabrics together. It's almost like a flat lock stitch on here. So this was a whole, yards going this way, yards going that way. So when I find a flaw like this, I always make sure I cut at least a yard after it. Why? Well, then I can make a top out of it as well. I don't care if my fabric has a little flaw, and I can work around this. But if I mailed this to you, you'd probably be like, wow, she needs more coffee. So that's the coral, which I'm going to make a top out of that as well. And then here is the yellow. Hold on, somebody's at the door. Oh, it's Win. Hey, Win. Do you need me? I'm sewing. Do you need me? We're live and I'm sewing. I just heard the door.
Oh, you're live right now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, I need to find a stamp.
You want a stamp? I'll ask the wolf pack if they have a stamp. Oh, wolf pack, Win needs a stamp. Hey, Win. I unlocked my car. If you go in my back seat, my wallet's in the back.
I'll see you later.
Okay. Love you. So you guys are staring at some fabric while I am checking out what's going on in the rest of my world. So this is really funny. So this morning, it does look lime on camera, doesn't it? Win needed a stamp really bad, and I could not find my wallet. I always carry stamps in case I'm traveling and I want to send a letter, but I looked everywhere. And then I get to the office, and it was at the very bottom of my little bag that I carry with my laptop, underneath a hoodie, kind of wrapped in there. I would have never found it, but now I didn't check to see if there were stamps in there, but there isn't. That fabric does look lime. It's not. It's totally yellow. So does it look different in this camera? Oh, isn't that amazing? The white balance on the other camera must be, now it looks yellow, right? This is the actual color of it. This is yellow. And yes, I'm still wearing my glasses because my sty is gone, but I didn't want to waste any more on mascara and have to throw it away. So maybe next week I can start jazzing up again. But this is the color. Better? Yeah, now it looks yellow. Well, let's go back to the lime green table. And I'll show you how to make the pattern. This is a beautiful color. Yeah. A lot of you bought this, and this is still on the website because I had 2 full bolts of this. Oh yeah. Well, the cutting mat's actually pink. Does that look purple? Boy, it's really off today, isn't it? Hey, Zena, that was a gorgeous bag you made. I'll be sharing that on social media. She finished the Julie bag. Uli, Karina, I know you probably just fall out of your chair when I said Julie. All right, so this is what I'm going to use. And this has, the nice stretch. It's rayon. But I want to do 2 layers in the front, just so it's a little bit not quite as see-through. And there's actually 2 different tops that I want to make. I'll sketch them out for you here so you have an idea of what I'm talking about. I was going to do this in the Fashion Sewing Club, but we're already this is the cute top we're making in the Fashion Sewing Club. So I thought, let's just sew this top. So what you'll need is you'll start with the Ruched-T or the Bella. Either one would work. I'm going to start with the Ruched-T. I've already kind of hacked it a little bit. So there's 2 different tops I want to make. One, I can't sketch upside down. Sorry. You'll have to just watch upside down. And I haven't decided for the back of this one. I think I would like it to go, this is almost like the lacy, but just with 1 piece of fabric. So see how it's kind of goes in just a little bit? This is the front and this is the back. Now, the only other thing I was thinking is, do I want to make like a cutout here anywhere? I don't know though. If I made a cutout, where would I want it to go? No, I think I'll just do a top. Oh, I have an idea. What if I do a V-neck and do the V-neck with twill? You guys have seen me do that where I put twill through here. So then there's 2 layers. I'll basically sew the 2 layers, flip it inside out, and this will be a perfectly clean edge for my V-neck. I haven't made one of those in a while. So why don't we do that? So there'll be 2 layers of yellow on the front, 1 layer of yellow fabric on the back. So I'll cut 2 and cut 1. And I'm altering the pattern a little bit by taking in the shoulders. So the original pattern would probably be more like that. Make sense? So I'm going to take that up. Whatever I take up on the back, I need to take up on the front and do it from the outside going in. I like the way the inside fits. So that's one top I'm going to make. And then I might as well just show you the other one. That's top number 1, top number 2. The next one is going to, now we've done this before, but I would like a different color. That's gathers, in case you're wondering. Okay, and that's the front. And then the back, again, I'm backwards, so bear with me. So this actually wraps around the neck here with a tie. So a halter like this. I like these for summer. Now, the only bad part is if you have any bit of a large chest at all, or I should say any of a chest at all, this style really makes this area look larger. But by cutting this in here, if you have some nice looking shoulders and arms, it camouflages a little bit. So this is a great outfit for like little girl dresses as well. Just extend this and make it a little longer, and it's basically a halter style top. Now this one, the only tricky thing is you'll have to wear a strapless bra if you're going to wear a bra. And you really can't wear a tank under it, but you have extra fabric here. So anyways, that's top number 2. I'm making this one first out of yellow, and this one, I don't know what color yet. I have a couple pieces of like 1-yard pieces of fabric I found in my stash that have knits with print on them, and that might be a good one for this. So let's get started with this one. And if you have questions, I can see all your comments rolling in. So ask away. So this is my pattern that I've pieced together all different pieces of fabric, but it's altered for a full bust here. And this was the Bella, but I pretty much hacked it. So this could be the Bella or the Ruched-T. So you can notice here, do you remember when we made this version of the top where you extend the line up and this will make a higher neckline? Now, if I want to do a V, I'll have to lower that. You can also see, because we did make a tank on here at one point, this might have been in Fashion Sewing Club, where I actually took this in. See where I marked for the new tank top here? And that looks pretty good. So whatever I take in here, I need to do the same thing for the back. All right, so one thing that I a lot of times like to do instead of making an entire new pattern and recreate the wheel, I will cut out, as long as I'm only changing a couple things about the fabric. I see somebody asking, yes, this fabric is still available on the app. Just go to the Angela Wolf Patterns app. You'll see it there. All right, I need to find the selvage to make sure I'm cutting this the right way. Wow, these look really similar. There's a stretch. So this is the width. So I've got this the wrong way. All right, I'll do the front first since it's right here. Now the camera might get a little wonky. Let me just take this out just a little bit. There you go. Better? You're staring at what looks like lime green, but it's not. Now, when you're working with a knit, don't forget you should not have the fabric hanging off the edges of the table. Why? Because it will skew and then you'll end up with a very odd looking top. Well, it might not stretch the way you want it to stretch, because if you don't cut it the right way and it starts to skew a little bit, what'll happen is if I let this hang, probably one side of the top is going to be longer than the other when I'm done cutting it. All right, got a couple pattern weights here that I got from Joe. Hey, by the way, has anybody been at any of Joe Vaccarelli's events lately? I know they're traveling everywhere. They've been very, very busy. And I know a lot of you follow along and visit him at some of the events. Okay, so this looks pretty nice and flat. I'm going to come over here. And now, because this table is a little shorter than my cutting table, these are those great tables that you've seen on Blaine's site, Sewing Machines Plus. Yeah, these are great. So that's nice and flat. I have plenty of room to cut out my front piece here. Grab my pattern. And I don't want to waste any fabric, so I'll slide this down just a little bit. I can even move this over a wee bit more. I think I spend more time trying to save fabric than I do in actually cutting the garment out. Now remember, I need 2 of the fronts. I don't cut both of the fronts at the same time, though. Just think that'll get too messy. All right, there's one. Do I have the whole thing on a cutting mat where I can actually use a rotary cutter? Maybe. Let me slide this down just a little bit. So Susan, by the way, what are you going to do about that mustard and red wine on your white pants? Because that's got to look a little bit like, I don't know, that can't be a very good looking color. Just saying. I don't know, ask the wolf pack. What should Susan do with her pants? This is going to be kind of like the question of the day. Susan, what should we do with your white pants? Oh, yeah. Hey, Karina, did you get my mail? Your email. I did not get an email from you. You said you emailed me, but I did not see it. I was going to ask you about that. Suzanne, how much yardage is going to be needed for this? Well, for this tank top, because I have 2 fronts, however long I want the tank. So basically from my shoulders to the hemline, or however long I want that top. That's how long, and multiply that times 2. So I'm only going to add the extra layer to the front. I mean, you can add it to the back, but I mean, the front is really where I wanted to camouflage and not see through. The back, I really don't care about. Those jeans are going in the dye bath. Yeah, Connie, you do need to find the grain line. So if you look really close, as I'm looking closely at this fabric right there, I can actually see the lines that go sideways. So I'm salvage to salvage. Okay, that's the line I'm looking for to go on the fold. Salvage to salvage. Phyllis says dye the pants. Susan needs ideas for color, though. Oh, hey, that's a good idea, Janelle. Yeah. And you got embroidery? Hey, thanks, Karina. Or message me on Facebook, too, like when you normally message me. All right, any other questions about this while everyone's giving some great ideas? Bleach them, they said. Oh, that's a good idea. Hang them up. splatter paint all over them. Hey, it's my niece's birthday today. Happy birthday, girls. 5 years old. Would you like to go over to Susan's house and paint all over her pants? Because I think that would be great. Yeah. Oh, I forgot about Don. All right, back to the table. I'll get cutting. All right, so I don't know how long. That's pretty long. I don't think I want it this long. So let me just measure on myself from my neckline to where I want the hem, which is about right here. Oh, well, that is about. So I think what I'll do is I'll just fold this where this line is here. Oh, you can't see. Come on down. Where this is here, all the way across, that's where I'm just going to fold this up. Boy, this pattern is like completely. I need to trace the new one. What do you think? Oh, yeah, that'll be for another day. All right, so I'm just going to cut just a little bit past that. See if I grabbed a rotary cutter with some sharp needles, sharp blades. I don't like doing curves with the rotary cutter. All right, so that's the marking for a high neck. I don't want a high neck on this. I'm doing a V-neck. And I'm going to cut 2 of these. So instead of making a whole new pattern, I'm just going to kind of roll through here and cut these all the same. So for now, I'm going to leave this. And I'm going to cut one out just exactly like this. And then I'll take in the tanks together at the end. All right, so one front down. Let's see which side is the... Boy, that's really hard to tell. That's the right side on the inside. They both look exactly the same. I'll just grab a pin. All right. All right, Karina, I saw your message come through on my watch. So whatever you said, I'll find it. Here you go. That's one down. Now, whatever I don't finish today on the live show, I hate to say it, but I'm just going to finish on my own because I want to wear it for the weekend. Now, tomorrow during the live show for Brother, maybe while Chris is working on zippers, I can finish my top. A zipper in here would be cute, wouldn't it? Anybody doing anything exciting for Memorial Day weekend? I heard traveling is going to be a lot of fun. Yes, I'm giggling. I'm not flying. I'm driving. That's going to be bad enough. But anybody going anywhere good? Now, what I can see here is I can actually see the lines. You guys asked about grain line. As I stretch, this is selvage to selvage. Now, that does not mean just take your fabric and fold it in half and the ends are going to line up. You have to make sure that you can see that grain line. If you can't, then you might not want to fold it in half and just cut 2 full, like fold this open and cut 1 without on the fold, which when it comes to knits, sometimes is a better route. All right, that looks pretty good. That's straight. All right. Well, it's going to be good weather here. You can see some of you making comments. I don't know. I just heard like some things about the airlines, but you know, they always say that and you never know. Might just be fine. If not, You can binge watch all the live shows from the last like year. If you get stuck in an airport, just make sure you got your charger. All right, there's my two fronts. And let's go ahead and cut this neckline right now. Okay, so on my markings here, I have a marking on my pattern that this is where I want to cut for a tank. So I'll just give it a little snip here. And if I want to have it a little open, and then for a V-neck, let's go here. So I have two snips here, and I snipped through all 4 layers. These are the 2 fronts, right? And then my V-neck, I guess I want to go about right here. So I'm going to put a snip there. I could always make that lower, but you cannot make it higher. So make sure that you don't do anything crazy and cut too much, which I've done that before. Let's make a nice V. That should look pretty nice. If I want that open a little more, I can. Let's see. Why don't we go a little more like, yeah, that looks good. Let's see. Well, that's pretty low, but I should be okay. Here I just said, I'm going to do 2 layers. Yeah, 2 layers, and it won't even matter because it's going to be too low. I'm going to have to wear a tank. So this is about how wide I want my tank top. Now, whatever I took off here, I'm going to save because I need to take this much off of the side back. Make sense? All right. Yeah, that looks good. I think I'm going to cut that down just a little bit under the arm because this is from where I would normally add a sleeve. I'm not going to add a sleeve, so I'm going to take a little bit away from here so it's not crammed up underneath my armpit. Is that proper English? There. Looks great. Okay, so this is the right side. And that's the wrong side. The inside's the right side. So I'll put it in here. That will remind me that this is the wrong side. And that's the right side. Okay, the front is done. Now what do I need for here? I'm literally going to sew these 2 pieces together, so I do not need binding for here. What do I want to do for the armholes? I could either do binding or run this through the cover stitch, which will make this really thin, but I can decide later, try it on and then decide. All right, what about the back? So I've got this little section here, extra, which isn't wide enough for the back to be cut, but I'll save this because if I make another one of these tops, this is about the perfect width for a sleeve. You know me, I don't like to waste. All right, now I'm gonna fold one more piece. This is for the back. I'm only doing 1 back. I used to do this all the time for my shirts. I would do 2 layers for the front, especially if it was a thinner knit. Now this rayon knit isn't that thin. It's a bamboo soft teak. I think it's what it used to be called. But it's a rayon knit, and the more, I can see the camera doesn't know where to focus. On the yellow or on the board? But it has a nice stretch to it. All right, I'm going to try one more time to see if I can lighten this up. The camera's acting very weird. That's me. I did that. And exposure. How's that? Better? Oh, there we go. Whew, much better. All right, so there, and I'm going to set this here so it can focus on that for a minute and grab the back pattern piece. Any questions on the front so far? I don't see any. Are you doing halfway for the front? You mean, what do you mean, Phyllis? I did 2 front pieces. And, oh, am I going to do little snips at the center front? Yes, I will. Oh, Lynn, that's a good question. Most sleeveless tops and patterns have huge arm size. How do I make them smaller without making the bust smaller? Well, you can usually just raise up that side seam before you cut. I'll show you on the pattern, but sometimes you can raise up that side seam to make it higher here. And exactly what I took away on that pattern, add back. So if they don't have that, then add that, where you have like a little bit more all the way through here. Whatever you do to the front, you have to do the back though. Any other questions? I'll send the girls on down. They can paint on your pants. Oh gosh, I know. It has been 5 years. Yep. Oh, that's a good idea, Liz. But you know what? I would not mark this one with a safety pin only because it's a knit and that can put a hole in your fabric, which would be bad. I make the lacy top. Let's see what you've got for me here. I make the lacy top bigger, but in the waist. Is that okay? Yeah, you can. You can totally make it bigger in the waist. Just kind of angle it out a little bit from the bust down, and that'll give you more room in the waist. Linda, you say never traveling on holiday. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that. I did think I went too deep because the bust is tight. Well, if you raise this higher and don't adjust anything else on the top, it should not really affect your bust. That's really just your underarm area. So if the bust is too tight, then that's a different issue. Well, you guys are all traveling. Oh, Lynn, are you talking about in the traveling tank? Did I show that in the Fashion Sewing Club? I swear I think I did. I'll go back and see what episode it was. Will you have this type of fabric in another color? Yeah, I've got a ton, Lynn. I have a dark green, a royal blue, which was on the fabric stash sale. I don't know how much of that I have left. White, black, and I have a few more colors coming for the next sale. If you're 5 feet tall, you cut the pattern of the lacy. How do I make it shorter? Just cut it at the waist area on the pattern and shorten it there. That way you don't lose that nice curve at the bottom. Oh, Susan, that's a great idea. Masking tape. Perfect. All right, let's go back over here. I'm going to grab my back piece. So the only thing that I have to change here is because I shortened that top from the hem down. Now I need just to make sure that this width here matches my front, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to cut this, make sure it's nice and even. And then I'll figure out how long I need to make this. This is what I do. I'll just finger walk this down. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, about right there. Slide this down. Perfect. Oh yeah, there's, who said that there was a batch of fabric under there? Good eye. Very good eye. Now I think I altered this pattern recently for a center back seam, which is why you see that kind of bowed right there. But this is my own pattern hack, so I know what I did and I'm taking it away. I cannot. That's a bad angle. Do not rotary cutter towards yourself. That is not a good idea. So I'm going to come over here. So I'd cut this out. I'm just pretending my piece is back in order. If you're looking at this wondering what in the world is going on here. All right, so there's my back. And the last thing, what did I say don't throw away? Those little pieces. So now I'll have to come here and figure out exactly, it might be on here. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So these shoulder marks should match, right? So now I'm going to give myself a snip right there. Snip right there. Do these match? They sure do. So this is the back. Although I want the back to be a little bit, I don't know, kind of fun. So let's go. And I also lowered this a little bit in the front. Come in and out. Should be able to still wear a bra or maybe like a cross back bra, which is good. At least that's in my book it is. And there's my back. Now this here, I can either do with a cover stitch, fold under with a cover stitch to attach to the front, or do binding. It doesn't matter. Either one is fine. If I'm going to do binding, then I need to cut away fabric. So this side here needs to match. So if I add binding to this, it's going to be out too far to match with the front. Make sense? All right, the last thing while I'm here, in case I decide to add binding, because I know I'm going to make another top anyways out of this. Just set this over here. I need to cut a few panels for binding, regardless if I decide to do the back neckline or the armholes. So let's slide this over. I'm going to fold it this way. So again, now I switched the fabric around. Now this is the selvage right here, and that's the selvage. All right. Hold that fabric up with one of those weights here. I like to cut my binding 2 inches wide. 1.5 is fine as well, but 2 inches is probably my favorite. So grab my little straps here. Well, that's 2.5 inches. I know I have one around here. You remember these? Many of you have these, the Angela Wolf strips, cutting strips. I got the logo. This one's 2.5 though. You can see that real close. And I want 2 inches. So somebody play I Spy in the studio so I can find my 2-inch ones. I have, oh, here they are, 2 inch. I love these. All right, how do they work? Pretty easy. So I have the fabric on the fold. Here's my selvage to selvage right here. Looks like that lines up. I must have cut that pretty straight before. Lay this right on the edge. You do need a sharp rotary cutter. And I'm going to line this up with the other cut. I like to go just inside of it. And then get down here. There we go. How fast is that? My strips are already finished. They're cut. Sometimes I'll just cut a whole batch of these. So like the other top where I'm going to use this as the neckline, I'll cut a few of these. I might go 3 inches wide on that, just so when I can flip it inside out with the serger. So let's see. This looks like that's the right side. This is the wrong side on the top. So I'll add a few more pins. I usually use chalk, but my chalk has disappeared from this table and I'm not going to walk around looking for it. These are glass head pins. They won't affect the fabric. If you're worried though, then go to the very end of the fabric. This is where you could probably use one of those pins that you were talking about earlier. Pins just aren't really friendly with knits unless you're using these really thin ones. All right, looks good. So I've got 2 of these, 2 fronts and 2 backs. All right, so the first thing I want to do is, let's see, we're going to press. I'm going to bring you back up here so I can move one of the cameras. I don't want you to get seasick. So I want to baste, a couple things I want to do. Sew my front together. A lot of times I will sew that together before I attach it to the back. Why? Because I want a real nice V here, flip it inside, and then that gives it that nice look. And then I can finish the shoulders later. Oh, thanks, Connie. Oh, you need a 1-inch ruler, Karina. Don't you have a set of these rulers? Was there a 1-inch in there? I don't know. I don't use 1-inch very often. All right, so I'm going to move a camera real quick. So I'll leave you here. Put you on the sewing machine. All my cameras got moved just a little bit when I was doing the sale last week just to get them out of the way. So this should be pretty good. As long as when I'm running around, I don't trip over them. All right. Yes, I have the serger all set up and I have the cover stitch set up. But that being said, I also want to make sure that when I sew my neckline, I like to do it with the sewing machine first. And I think that's just me, my preference. I already put a new needle in here because we've been working on projects here in the studio nonstop. I'm using the Brother Luminaire. And yes, I am a Brother brand ambassador, full disclosure. All right, whoever was here last was using blue. So I got to grab my yellow bobbin. Of course. Why would I have a yellow bobbin ready? Oh, because I don't. All right, well, then you might as well just change the bobbin with me. I'm adding it onto an old color because I'm only going to use this for a minute and then I'll take it off. I need that pink for something later. I guess that's kind of cheating because it's really not a good idea. You want to know why? Because if I do run out of yellow, it's going to not know that I'm out of bobbin thread. It'll think I have bobbin thread because I've got the pink under there, but this will be fine. For what I'm doing right here, it's going to be perfect. Just make sure that you don't have any of the pink sticking out like that because that will get in your machine and really make a mess. So I need to trim that off. So by the way, did I tell you who's coming on the show next week? Yeah, Rhonda from Schmetz. They're a sponsor for the new TV show, and she wants to share a few things about the app and about the needles. And you can always learn a lot from all the needles. And she always has a ton of information. So she's a very busy lady, so I'm really excited that she's going to join us. All right. Thread the needle, and we're good to go. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is take my fronts, and I do want to give myself a little snip right at the center front. Can you see that? So I'm just giving myself a little snip right at the center front so I know where to stop stitching. You'll see this in a second. So now I have two sides. I want my right sides to go together as I stitch. So this is the right side facing up, and this is the right side facing down. I'm not going to use a lot of pins, but what I do want to do is make sure I lay this nice and flat. If you don't have a flat surface where your sewing machine is, then go to the ironing board or the table, because I want to make sure that this lays really nice and flat. And so where my V is at the center matches on both sides. Otherwise, when you flip this over, you'll have like a little skewed neckline. If you've ever done that, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, then don't worry about it. All right, so that I'm going to sew along there. There's my V. See that little slit there? I want to make sure I have a pin or some form of marking there. And this is really important. A lot of times I'll put even just a nice chalk mark straight down. Why? Because as you're stitching, I'll stitch and I'll know exactly where that point is. So a pin works just fine too. I'll put it right there, facing directly down. Can you see that? So I'll stitch, I'll stop right. Just imagine if I stitched way down here, I would need to know where that exact line is at that V. Does that make sense? So just pretend that's an invisible line right there. All right, right sides together. I use a stitch length. Let's see, this is a knit. I'm going to use a 3.0 on this. When you start sewing a knit, do not start too close to the edge of the fabric because it can get buried inside of your needle plate there. Watch, it'll happen now that I just said that. And I'm using just a real scant seam allowance here, about 1/4 inch. So I'll go forward a little bit and then I'll go back just to get it started. So I'm lining the edge of my fabric up with the edge inside of here of my foot. Making sure you're not stretching the fabric at all. All right, take that pin out. This is where chalk works a little better. I know exactly, there's the point, right there. Lift up your presser foot and then turn your fabric to go the other direction. This will give you a really nice V. A point at your V. Now when I do this, and when I turn the fabric to the inside, or the other, I should say when we turn it, I'm actually going to have more fabric on the shoulder seams, which you'll see here in just a minute. You're like, what? Well, okay, here's my seam. I like to make sure that my inside, whichever one's going to be the inside, I either do an understitch or I add twill tape to make sure that that goes to the full inside. And when I do that, I will have it'll be a little bit of extra fabric on the shoulder, which I'll cut. All right, so let me see what this looks like. Do I want to use twill tape or do I want to just do understitching? Let's see. I like to use twill tape because it helps the neckline prevent it from stretching out. That doesn't look bad. No, I'm going to use twill tape. It's just my golden way of doing this. And for those of you that have taken my Sewing Knits Masterclass on my Angela Wolf Academy, you've probably seen this trick in close-up with good video. This is live with average video. All right, so twill tape. I buy it by the case. It's 1/4 of an inch wide. And yes, I am using a sewing machine on my neckline because once I do the twill tape, these stitches cannot stretch out. If I don't use twill tape and I stretch this, because I didn't use a zigzag stitch and it's just a straight stitch, this can pull out really easy. That's kind of why I decided to go with my way that I know it will work. All right, so we're going to stitch. I could have basted that in as well, but I didn't. So now we're going to stitch permanently. Now when I start at the shoulder, I start with the twill tape down just a little bit. I don't want all that bulk right in the shoulder. I'm putting the twill tape exactly over where I just stitched. So I'm stitching this right on that exact seam we just did. Just take your twill tape, hold it to the fabric. Don't let the fabric gather underneath. This is just for stabilization. It's a big word for a Wednesday. I just see a few new people rolling in. Don't forget about tomorrow's show at 4 o'clock. It's free on the Dime website. All right, there's the tip of my V. Make sure I didn't twist that at all. I think I did. If you have a neckline that stretches out, this is also a great way to prevent it from stretching. All right, we'll get close to the shoulder. But I don't want that bulk in there, so I cut off the twill tape there. All right, there is my neckline. And I'm going to snip that V right down to my stitching, but not through. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, let's go to the ironing board. Any questions so far? Suzanne, which website for tomorrow? It's right here. I'll just drop it in the comments here. Dime is Central Time, but it's 4 p.m. Eastern. 4 p.m. Eastern, and then you can do the math and figure out your time. I'm just trying to think if that's like at the end of the day. Might have to have like go make sure I go get a nice bottle of champagne. I don't need the whole bottle, but I just one glass, right? All right, so there's my twill tape. And this will automatically help your top roll to the inside. It's like the best little secret ever. So this is the inside, and then it helps it where you cannot see the outside at all. This will not roll to the back. So if you've ever had your neckline start to roll to the front, that's really annoying, by the way. I have Mary's clapper that sews with us. Mary, I don't know if you're watching, but I have your clapper. I'm just getting it prepped for you. Initiated. All right, here we go. And I'm basically maneuvering the fabric, so this is the wrong side facing me. Or I should say will be the inside of the garment, because it's still the right side of the fabric. years ago, we're talking a lot of years ago, my favorite outfit was a sweater set. I'd wear a sweater set to just about everything. So I'd have the tank top, I'd have a cute sweater set, and I think I did, I don't know, 30 necklines like this because they just look so classy on a knit, which a lot of times you have the ribbing and things like that. This kind of dresses it up a little bit. All right, just make sure everything's laying flat. And this is the front. Look at how beautiful that looks. So when it's on, I have a perfect point. This won't stretch out because the twill tape will hold it, but this is what I was referring to. So now look, once I did that, give it one more pressing here. Kind of like a sweetheart neckline almost. Now I can go back and understitch along this edge, which I'll probably do. And then the only other thing I want to point out is if you look up here, see how the bottom layer now is a little wider? So before I sew this together, I will lay this flat and trim these so the front and back side are the same width. It's just going to happen that way because I cut them both the same width, right? And then once I turn the inside in and push this towards the inside just a little bit, it's just a little bit off. All right, let's go do some understitching, and I cannot believe our time is already up, but I'll finish this tomorrow. As long as it's finished for the weekend. I'd like a nice yellow top for the boat. So this is what you call understitching. I'm literally stitching this seam to the inside of the garment. And you want to stitch pretty close to your actual seam line. This will completely help, this will help your fabric from not pushing out towards the right side. Now the pressing helped a lot, but that just helped keep this nice and flat for the understitching. This secures it for life. All right, now I will just sew my top together just like a regular top. But now look, see how nice that looks? Oops, no, you can't. I'll take you over to the ironing board. Actually, no, I'll just take you up on screen. All right, so this is what I have. And see how nice it's like it's a little double layer now. Now, something that would be really fun, but look at how beautiful that V looks. Isn't that gorgeous? Perfect in my book. So this will not stretch out. I will lay these two. If you look really close, this bottom layer is a little bit wider than the top layer. So I'll lay this flat, make sure the front and back are completely the same. But I did have a thought as I was sewing this. Now that there's two layers, it would be really fun to have one layer a little higher on one side and the other almost making it look like a faux wrap. I don't know. You never know what I might come up with. I will make sure I share photos with you. But in the meantime, maybe it'll be finished and I can wear it to tomorrow's show. You never know. All right. Anything else, guys? All right. Oh, that's a good idea. You've changed kids' patterns. Those are the Kai embroidered scissors. I have a new batch of scissors coming too. Pink, purple, and I think that's it. Mary Smith, those They're on the Angela Wolf Patterns page, those cutting strips. And you have a discount too for Fashion Sewing Club. I don't know if they're on the, I don't think they're on the app because they were so long, they wouldn't fit under the app's shipping standards. Oh, it did not include a 1. Well, Karina, what was I thinking? My goodness. All right, I hope all of you, do I need to use tape under the arms? No, Brenda, you don't. So even if you're using binding or do the cover stitch, one or the other. And the only other thing is for the back neckline, either turn it under and use a cover stitch, which I have all threaded and ready to go, or do a binding. And then sew your top together. So your front is finished. And sometimes I'll even baste the shoulders together and baste the side seams together just to make sure they're laying perfectly straight. Although it would be kind of fun to have some gathers. I don't know. I'll play with it. Oh, thanks, Lois. Yeah, no. Twill tape in those seams. When I do all my ruching, that's what I use as well, is twill tape. And as long as you sew it right on that seam, not in the seam allowance, because the seam allowance will make it bulky. Yeah, try that next time. Cover stitch. You know, the cover stitch machine, V. So I will turn under the fabric like you do on a hem. Turn under the fabric and run it through a cover stitch machine. It's a cover stitch machine. But I'll post photos. All right, any other questions for me? Again, don't forget, this is for tomorrow. Fusion Fix embroidery event. It's free at 4 p.m. I put the link, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central. I put the link. Can you show again exactly where you put the twill tape? It was right on the V-neck, Karen. And I can't because it's 2:42 and I got to be somewhere at 3. Otherwise, I would show it again. But as soon as I'm done, you can watch the replay. It's right along the front neckline. Yeah. And then I'll put here, free event. There you go. In case you missed it, don't forget to register in advance. And that way you'll get a reminder. And also, I forgot I need to add that or you can't hear me. And also, there's a free design. But this looks kind of fun. I don't know. Looks like a lot of bling for the weekend, and I think it's going to be fun. I don't know. I think I need that. And this would be really cute, especially for July 4th coming up. All right. Is that it? No, it's not a serger, via cover stitch. Some sergers have the cover stitch attached to it. Others are, I have just a standalone serger and a standalone cover stitch by Brother. Oh, thanks, Susan. All right. Anybody else have any other questions for me? You can email me. I'm shipping more fabric. So if your fabric's already shipped and you added more, then you'll just get a second package. But if you haven't gotten an email, that is not shipped yet, because you'll get an email. And Glenda, it's so nice that you're back. Oh, Mary, that's funny. It's not, though. It's not the Linda on my Linda tunic, the V-neck. You're welcome. I double layered it, Joanna, just because that yellow is a little see-through. Not a lot. I mean, I have like 3 of the yellow tank tops that are not double, but if I was here on camera, I like to have the double. Then you can't see my bra through it. Make sense? Great to see you guys. All right. I'll see you tomorrow on the Brother Show at noon if you're around. If you're a Brother fan, you want to learn about zippers, 4 p.m. tomorrow on Dime. And if you're not joining for either, then have a great weekend. Bye, everyone. Till next time, happy sewing.